So I was asked a question on having smelly thoughts, which I understand, sort of sticky thoughts, smelly thoughts, and also being having stuff come up when people claim they're enlightened. So to speak on both of those, and I think, as one does spiritual work, goes to the observer, becomes more aware of the ego mechanisms, one starts to develop spiritual discernment of when something is more or less released. They're just thoughts which arise and just fall away very easily. And there's no kind of emotional baggage or history or stickiness around them. They just come and they go and they're gone and nothing really happened. And there are certain thoughts as one becomes more spiritually conscious that there's stuff, these are thoughts that can't easily be dismissed. They're almost like, crying for like, let's get stuck into this thought, or you're not going to easily get rid of me. I'm an important thought, stuff like that. And definitely, I experienced that. I mean, of course, I experienced it, if you're feeling free and happy and and presence the whole day, and suddenly a thought arises and it just won't go away and it's got like baggage around it and it is you're observing it, canceling it, and it's still coming back, then yeah, I mean, I think that's actually probably spiritual awareness and spiritual growth, but this is something that requires whichever mechanism the spiritual student wants to use to transcend it. I mean, I have my favorite mechanisms I share: the observer, self-inquiry, canceling beliefs, or using a course lesson, but there can be other ways to release stuff. So it's just a thing. There's still some ego. The world is bringing up something that has still got meaning or specialness attached to it or associated with it. And it's like a call. Either you can indulge in it and let it get stronger, or you can do whichever mechanism you feel drawn to transcend it. So, I mean, if I feel like, for example, getting very angry and upset, someone said something, angry and upset, and the thoughts keep coming back. Oh, they're wrong, I'm right. They're wrong, I'm right. I'm going to get revenge on this situation, whatever it is, these sticky thoughts. Then I can either go like, I can do self-inquiry, like who's angry about this? What's the me that's angry about it? Let me have a look at the me that's angry. And then I see there's nothing there. And if there's nothing there, there can be nothing to be angry about. So, and if I go back and the thought comes back again a little bit later, then I'll do that again to try and clear it. Or I could think that, okay, or I could feel like maybe it's a karmic thing and it'll be easier just to do the anti-karma prayer on it. I pray for forgiveness for the one in me who's inflicted my egotism and pride on others in this lifetime and others. So I might think that's the way to clear it. Or it's just a belief. Um, I believe people who indulge in victimhood are daft. I cancel my belief in that. I'm an infinite being. So I don't need to get triggered by people who like indulging in victimhood or blame or something like that. So I could do a trans, but I would, I see everything that arises as being sticky or smelly, whether it's a thought, a person, a place, or a situation, because my devotion is to the truth, to the infinite source, and to work on. I mean, I just see this world as a world that will keep bringing up stuff until there's nothing to bring up. And when there's nothing else to bring up from this world will cease to exist because it has served its purpose of bringing experience, thoughts, feelings, pictures, dualistic relationships, dualistic ideas. It will keep bringing that up until it's all transcended and I'm ready to let it all go and return to a deeper place of being, which is beyond all duality. So that's the thing with smelly and sticky thoughts. I do get them, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, it's the thing that you get them is because you're becoming aware of when they arise. And so you're in a good place for a long time, and then this arises, and it's a call to let that go, so that that which is more true remains uninterrupted throughout the day. So I just think it's an opportunity, and I just think the world will keep bringing up everything. If one's allegiance is to be free, then the world's job is and my ego's job is to keep bringing up stuff until that is so. And okay, so what about people who I don't, well, first of all, I don't claim to be enlightened. And what about people? I mean, I do have this thing. I mean, Hawkins calibrated. I was watching a recent video of his, and it was, I think, probably nearer the time before his death. Calibrated, there was only three enlightened teachers alive on the planet, just before he died. Three above enlightenment. Now, probably how many teachers are there out here in the world that are probably claiming enlightenment? Probably hundreds and hundreds of them. You go to your local group, and there's three people claiming enlightenment. So, I mean, that's between them and divinity. But in terms of me, I mean, I do believe in Hawkins calibrations, and I think what he's talking about, people who've gone through the death of the ego. Just because you're in a state of bliss for a few days, for me, that doesn't mean you're enlightened. Or just because you've had a glimpse of the enlightened state doesn't mean you're enlightened. Enlightenment for me is a very, very clear thing, which Hawkins clearly indicated, and Ramana in his life clearly. The two of them share a very similar story of, um, with Ramana, suddenly there was a huge terror of the death of the ego, and he witnessed it. And then, he was gone. The body was just lying there. He was out of this world. It was only through the miraculous that spiritual seekers found his body being eaten by bugs on the floor. He wasn't there. The power was overwhelming. You're not going to be in the body any longer. And they slowly coaxed the body to start speaking again. Hawkins as well went into the enlightened experience. He was married, an eminent Freudian psychoanalyst with a huge practice in New York. And the state was so overwhelming, he left his wife, his career, left everything to his wife, and just traveled into the desert in Sedona into a little shed and spent 10 years trying to adjust to that energy after the death of the ego. So that's what classically, I mean, he would give me a hallmark that a teacher claiming enlightenment probably might be enlightened, but if with three on the planet alive when he left, I don't think there's going to be many of them. And if someone says to me, I think I've got three enlightened teachers down the road, or there's five enlightened teachers in my group, well, they can claim that. But for me, I don't claim enlightenment. I have shared about my experience of what I feel getting to the gateway and refusing the gateway of the death of the ego, and having not gone through that. So I don't claim that myself. Um, but yeah. So what do I think about people claim? Well, I think it's just this thing of uh, it would depend. If someone came up to me that I had to meet on a regular basis and said to me, I'm definitely enlightened, I'm amazing, I'm enlightened. I mean, it would be a thing. I mean, if I felt I can actually experience it. I remember meeting Hawkins, um, the power and the level of truth being said is ferocious, and the level of ego slaughter is incredible. And the sense of a timelessness beyond this world. I mean, it's beyond someone just saying the words. So if I met someone and they claimed enlightenment, and and I've been in the presence of those who are enlightened, then I think I'd be able to say, okay, well, you are. You're probably one of those three people on the planet, and and I'd be humble. I'd want to be around them if they're one of the three that are enlightened on the planet. I'd love to be in their presence and have satsang with them and be reminded of the truth. But if they're one of the several hundred that think they're enlightened, then it would just be for me to let that go. I mean, personally, I'd try and avoid them because, listening to someone who's claiming enlightenment who I feel intuitively is not, for me would be, I just leave them to their pathway, unless unless it was something where it seemed the universe was forcing me to confront that person or be with that person on a regular basis, then I'd have to do some deeper spiritual work around what is it that's in me that's being triggered by such a thing. So yep, I'll stop on that one.